live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Yes, it is another day. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. Thursday, June the 8th, we're going in depth on a number of issues today pertaining to road rage. We've continued this conversation over the last few days. We will dive in just a few minutes. A man sharing his experience behind the wheel that has him demanding change. We also speak with Utah Highway Patrol about our roads right now, the situation we're dealing with. Before we get there, we're following breaking news of a wildfire breaking out along I-15 in southern Utah in Washington County right now. Let's send things over to Jade Elliott at the live desk.
Brian, thanks so much. I want to take you there live. We have a UDOT camera in that area showing where this fire has sparked right near New Harmony. Take a look. Smoke just filling the east side of I-15 here. Details very limited. Again, this is right near New Harmony, Washington County, just south of St. George. And you can see the smoke just continuing to billow into the sky along the interstate there. Now, our assignment desk, I just spoke with them just seconds ago before coming on air. They are making calls as we speak. They have left messages with Washington County and New Harmony with their PIOs, trying to get some more information in regards to what sparked the fire, what is on fire, and if there's any evacuations in the area as well. So we'll, of course, keep you updated. Again, giving you a live look right now. A fire burning. This is just on the east side of I-15, right through New Harmony. As soon as we have more details, we'll, of course, pass them along to you right here and on our website, KUTV.com.
Jade Elliott with the very latest right here on 2 News Live. Jade, thank you so much. Let's go to our headlines right now. First, police in Cache County confirming a murder-suicide in Hiram after a married couple was found dead in their home by their 16-year-old daughter. This happened last night. Also making headlines, a man in Moab facing attempted murder charges. Police say Martin Garcia Bogarin stabbed someone outside of a restaurant on Wednesday. Also making headlines today, candidates can now file to run for the special congressional election for Utah's 2nd District. Congressman Chris Stewart, right here, resigning in September. There will be a primary election September 5th. With the final election on November 21st. And finally, in our headlines tonight, a Utah teen who won Lehigh's teen pageant only to have just days to celebrate. Representatives took back her sash and crown, saying she was actually ineligible to even compete. Tonight at 6 o'clock, Lincoln Graves will have an update on this story that he brought us right here last night on KUTV2 News at 6. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us throughout the show. Use the hashtag 2NewsLive to join in on our conversation. Very easy to join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can send us a direct message in any of those places to weigh in. You know, all week since a deadly road rage incident in Eagle Mountain, 2 News has shared road rage stories and the push to get change. We've heard from friends of victims, lawmakers, law enforcement. Today we spoke with Utah Highway Patrol about what they're seeing on our roads and ways to stay safe if you encounter a road rage situation.
So I think it's a concern everywhere, really. I know that we've seen a lot of reports come out with Utah being one of the higher states to with incidents of road rage. But no matter where you go, anytime there's road rage on the road, it makes a very dangerous situation for everybody, just due to what we've seen with some of these incidents turning deadly because of criminal behavior, but also instances where driving becomes very risky and causes a substantial danger to all the public around them, between people cutting each other off, high speeds, and a lot of things like that. So yes, it can be very, very dangerous. As we track aggressive driving, there's really no way for us to track it in a citation basis or just through our daily routines, due to there is no road rage type citation to give somebody. If you give someone a citation in a road rage type situation, it's going to be for a traffic violation or for a criminal violation. But we can start to look at those aggressive driving in a crash scenario, where we can track those through crash reports. So over the last several years, we've seen a pretty steady level of crashes involving aggressive driving, the kind of up and down between year to year. But we've seen several lately that have occurred that have been very, in the public, where these situations have gotten pretty severe and caused, some severe injuries and fatalities. First of all, we all have to start with ourselves. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we need to do as a driver to make sure we're respectful, obeying the laws of the road, and just going out and going to where we need to go without having any problems. But also, too, if we have instances of road rage as that we see on the roadway, we can't engage and become part of that problem. We need to report those instances to law enforcement and allow them to take care of that. But we want to know. We want to make sure that we get that driver off the road because we don't want to put anyone in danger. And so if you observe those, please call 911 and don't try to handle those situations yourself. If you feel in danger and it's something that you need to do, that there's ways to create space between you and that offender, whether that be taking an exit, it's even if it's to the point where you feel like you're in danger and need to help, then go to a police station, go to someplace where you can be safe.
Part of that is do not go to your house. We'll talk more about that coming up. Tonight, we're hearing firsthand what it's like being a victim of road rage. A man who says he's still nervous to drive since being beaten in a road rage case earlier this year. Ariel Harrison sat down with him today. She's joining us live now. Ariel, what was this man's experience like when he was behind the wheel that day?
Well, Brian, I'm in Sandy, which is where this happened. I spoke with a gentleman who lives here named Joe Cole. He says back in March, he was driving home late one night behind a vehicle that stopped twice before this situation turned physical. He said the second time this vehicle stopped and the driver got out, he walked up to Joe in his car. Joe rolled down his window, and that gentleman decided to punch him in the face. And after this happened, well, Joe said he didn't even initially realize what was happening. He didn't know that this man was upset. But he claims that the driver was, flashing his high beams in his mirror, and that really upset him. After he got hit in the face, the gentleman who was in that vehicle Joe was driving behind got in his car and drove off really fast. Joe followed him, got his license plate, but as the driver was taking off, Joe claims that he was going, swerving, brake checking, and he actually crashed into that driver, which he feels is the only reason police were able to, take any action against his attacker. They actually went to court yesterday, that being the man who's accused of doing this, and his police were referring charges of hit and run, and then an additional charge that slipped my mind at this moment. But Joe claims as he was observing that court hearing, the prosecutor in this case was trying to walk that charge down to just disorderly conduct. He says that does not match what happened. I was beaten. This was terrifying. And I'm very concerned seeing this man back on the road, possibly hurting other people. So quite a mess this man experienced a few months ago.
Ariel Harrison live for us tonight in Sandy with one man's experience. A lot of us have been behind the wheel and had some sort of road rage experience on the smaller scale, but that is quite the extreme. Ariel, thank you. We want to hear from you at home. Scan the QR code on your screen. Second straight day we've asked you about road rage. What's the worst road rage you've experienced? Most of you saying either followed closely or threatened. As we've said over the last few days, there's probably a couple other things you could put on there, but most of you can relate, unfortunately. It's been a really long winter in terms of snow on the ground in certain areas. Some of our mountain passes are now open for the summer, though, and some will open up in the next couple of weeks all across the state. UDOT, got to give them kudos here. They have been hard at work, not just with trying to remove the snow here at Guardsman Pass, but really all over the state. They've been dealing with avalanche mitigation. I mean, what a past few months for our UDOT crews. The road connects Big Cottonwood and the Salt Lake Valley to the Park City area. So Guardsman's a beautiful drive, but UDOT's asking people to avoid parking along that road. It's very narrow right now. The road is expected to stay open, weather permitting, until late fall or early winter. You never really know, Chase Thomason, but right now,
oh, I know.
Well, but you never really know what day that's going to happen.
That's
when
true.
You have a different perspective than others.
I know.
However, it looks great up there right now. It's refreshing to see it open. It kind of gives us a glimmer of hope that the The warmer days are definitely here. They're definitely coming, and the snow will melt a little bit.
Yeah, one of my favorite hikes, Blood's Lake. However, there's still a lot of snow on the ground, so probably not the best conditions for some of those trails up at 9,000 feet because it's pretty high up there.
Francis likes that hike. I do too. It's a short hike. It's dog friendly, and it's
that's changed. A portion of it
used to be fully dog friendly, and that has changed. Yes, there were some conversations about that.
A whole other story
over
which
the
I'm
years.
a little disappointed about, but that's okay.
We'll go in depth on that
at
some point here on 2 News Live. It's a great hike. Here's a nice look in North Ogden again. Goodness,
we've been seeing photo after photo of something similar to this for the last couple of weeks. Dark clouds lowering. We got some heavy rainfall. It didn't last too long, but a gorgeous shot up towards Weber County today as we track some of these showers and thunderstorms. So let's get to your forecast. Down in southern Utah, we've been pretty quiet and dry. That's where temperatures have actually been on the cooler side of things. So at least you're dealing with that. I know we're not getting any rain in St. George, but anytime we're in the 80s in June, that's a win because typically we're seeing lots of triple digits. It feels like last several years. Normal now, though, is 94 degrees. Currently 86 in St. George, but because of these scattered showers and storms we've had, we've actually cooled by about 10 degrees. We were in the low 80s earlier today, and now we're seeing 60s and 70s in northern Utah. Heber at 55 degrees, so you might need a jacket depending on your location this evening. Right now, though, we're pretty quiet along the Wasatch Front. We do have a few storms now pushing into Utah County near Spanish Fork. If this holds together, it could be rolling to the Provo area here shortly. Some light to moderate rain towards the Wasatch Back, Heber, and Park City. That's why your temperatures are definitely on the cold side right now. This storm system that's been out in California is slowly coming our way, but still pretty dry down in southern Utah. So if you're at those state and national parks, you're just fine. You can be in those slot canyons, but just still a couple lingering showers and storms central and northern Utah. And notice as we head through the next couple hours, they'll be very isolated by 7 or 8 o'clock. A couple lingering light showers, and then we'll likely stay dry overnight and into tomorrow morning. But here we go again. We still have a little bit of moisture out there, but some drier air is starting to move in, so I don't think they'll be as numerous. Just an isolated shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon in northern Utah. Best chance will be over the mountains. Our rain chances here in the valleys will likely go down to about 20% tomorrow and on Saturday. But we have another storm system that's going to be approaching Utah. Winds out of the south. Here we go again. Quite the pattern we've been under last couple weeks. Scattered storms likely Sunday, Monday, and even into Tuesday of next week. And that's going to help cool those temperatures just a bit. Now, St. George, we're going to stay below normal for the next 7 days, but highs will be near 90 degrees through the weekend, partly cloudy skies. We could start to see some pop-up thunderstorms beginning in the mountains of southern Utah on Sunday. St. George, your best chance will be on Monday, 83 degrees, and then it gets hot. Here we go. By the end of the week, we could be in the mid to upper 90s in southern Utah. Salt Lake will be in the low 80s all the way through the weekend, and even cooler with those scattered thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday in the upper 70s. Overnight lows staying in the 50s. We'll see if this pattern comes to an end, Brian. It's been very unusual, but we do have maybe some drier air, quiet weather by Thursday of next week as we warm back up into the mid-80s.
Glad to know it's not just me who thinks it's a little bit unusual.
It's been very unusual, but you know what? No complaints. Because again, 70s and 80s on repeat, afternoon thunderstorms. That's keeping, things nice and green up here in northern Utah. We haven't had as much rain in some locations, especially down south, but again, 80s in St. George in June. That's awesome.
You were mentioning, I think, earlier in the week about how really this is a nice thing for people. They don't have to water their lawns right now. You could conserve. Or as much, right? The afternoons kind of getting the nice little soaking.
Yeah, it depends on your location. I know some folks have not got a whole lot, but other folks, my house, I just got about 0.2 of an inch yesterday. And so that's one of those times where you're like, okay, turn off your sprinklers because we got a good little drench for a few days.
Thank you, Chase. You can always download our 2 News weather app to know about changes in your neighborhood. You can get updated forecasts, some live radar right on your phone. The app is free to download. We're following, of course, this breaking news of a fire burning in Washington County tonight. This is along I-15 on the east side there. You can see off on the side of this camera here, from a UDOT camera about milepost 42. There's an exit right here. There's a pretty full RV park right next to this. This runs along old Highway 91. I want to show you a time lapse that I pieced together just before we popped on air here. This began at 4:59, which is right when the smoke check call came out. You can see that dark smoke right at the beginning, and then this time lapse kind of moves over the next couple minutes. I think I stopped at about 5:25. So that's how it looked just a second or two before we went on the air here at 5:30 for 2 News Live. But fortunate to have an alert wildfire camera pointed at this precise location. There are a few of them in southern Utah you can always check out. Now, millions of people across the country remain at risk tonight as wildfire smoke from Canada keeps rolling in. We would love to show you a live look from New York City tonight. We have it. It's over here. You can see some city, but not as much as you'd normally get from a nice tower view. It's dark there. Places like DC, Baltimore, Philly, they've got air quality ranging from very unhealthy to hazardous, something that some of the Pacific Northwest states, even us here in Utah, would see, particular during some hot months, some months where fires are prevalent in the West. Today in Washington, D.C., Utah Senator Mike Lee discussed the need for more federal response when it comes to wildfires.
Federal land managers are often prohibited from dealing with the situation in the way in which it requires, because of restrictive federal land designations and permitting processes for active management activities.
The Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Center says wildfires have burned more than 9 million acres this year. That's about 15 times above average for this point of the season. Not very good in Canada north of the border. As the wildfire season begins in parts of the United States, a Utah hotshot crew currently up in Canada helping contain these flames, or at least try. There's not a whole lot of resources on some of these fires, but the Logan hotshots are in the Alberta region, one of the many areas in Canada experiencing massive wildfires. The crew, based out of the Logan Ranger District with the U.S. Forest Service, part of the Uinta-Wasatch National Forest. They've been around since the mid-'80s. As of tonight, 2 other crews from Utah are also helping fight fires out of state or working on assignments, not necessarily fire assignments, but out there just standing by and ready. The Alta Hotshots were in Wisconsin. They are joining the Lone Peak Hotshots in Michigan. Both of those are members of Utah State Forestry, Fire, and State Lands. So, over the last few weeks, we've done several stories and interviews about our upcoming wildfire season here in Utah. Most recently, a large-scale interagency press event reminding you to practice your fire sense. The governor was there, state, federal officials, they were all there asking you to please use your fire sense, which basically, Chase Thomason, is your common sense. Yes. We've talked about that time and time again. You can find those reports on our website, KUTV.com, also our mobile app. Hey, would have been a fun one to be there for this today, covering southern Utah tonight here on 2 News Live. You know, the National Park Service is celebrating 100 years of Bryce Canyon. On this day, 1923, Bryce was proclaimed a national monument by President Warren G. Harding. Nearly 5 years later, it officially became a national park.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Today, park officials held a special centennial commemoration ceremony along the Rim Trail. Park officials also announced today the entire Navajo Loop is now open. Crews have been working to clear the trail after our record winter. There was a few hiccups on that trail.
Yeah, oh
that
yeah.
They had to fix.
Oh yeah, always. I mean, the runoff, the movement along those steep switchbacks.
Yep.
They're always keeping busy there at Bryce. A reminder, you can always find KUTV 2 News Live on your phone, your tablet, your computer. You can stream our newscasts on the mobile app, Stir, News On, and YouTube. They're all free to download in the Apple App Store or Google Play. I haven't been to Bryce in a few years. I was thinking about it. I think it's been at least a year since I've been there.
Well, I mean, I don't go every year.
No, it'd be nice to go every year, though. It's a great place to go hike and obviously a very family-friendly location.
I think it's one of the easier parks to kind of get around to because you can just go to the rim and you can see all the hoodoos. And then if you want to go down and do a little bit of hiking, you can.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the view never gets old. The amphitheater's just gorgeous. So congratulations to the folks at the Park Service. This is a special day for so many.
100 years.
I know the governor was there. A special concert tonight at 8 o'clock by the Piano Guys.
Nice.
at Bryce Canyon.
Weather will be perfect for that.
It should be nice.
Yep.
Thanks for watching 2 News Live tonight. We appreciate you being here. We will be back tomorrow night. Rumor has it Heidi Hatch is taking over. That's pretty cool.
Okay. Well, I'll be here.
She will be here with Chase, and then I'll be back with you on Monday. Hope you have a great rest of the work week, a safe weekend, and we will be back for another edition of 2 News Live. In some capacity, he'll be here tomorrow. See ya.